It is Sunday, the 1st of March 2015. I'm in front of the Unitarian Church in Montreal. I'm starting up my little alternative spiritual practice of protesting against Unitarian Universalist injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy. And I'm actually into my third half hour of video recording of the protest. So I've been protesting for at least an hour now. And in the last hour, I had another interesting conversation with John Inder, who's the president of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. And, John Inder is doing his very, very best to pretend, that I have no justification to be protesting in front of the church at all. But especially in terms of the fact that the main thing that I am protesting against at the moment is the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations in Boston hired the Canadian corporate law firm Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors to falsely accuse me of the archaic crime of blasphemous libel in what can be reasonably described as Lance Armstrong-style legal bullying that seeks to conceal as much as possible the fact that certain Unitarian Universalist ministers are guilty of engaging in what Maitre Marc-André Coulombe describes as such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. So essentially, Maitre Marc-André Coulombe falsely accused me of making unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, and then went on to pretend that these allegedly unfounded and vicious allegations were defamatory, and in fact that they were so defamatory that they constitute the criminal act of blasphemous libel against the Unitarian Universalist Association, if not the Unitarian Universalist religious community as a whole. In fact, I do believe that blasphemous libel has to be, by definition, it's against a religious group. So it's not really possible to blaspheme against the Unitarian Universalist Association per se, because it's just a administration, as it were, of the Unitarian Universalist religious community. It'd be sort of like accusing someone of blaspheming against the Vatican rather than Roman Catholicism, sort of parallel kind of situation. So anyway, I'm protesting the fact that the UUA is accusing me of blasphemy in an effort to try to get me to memory hole blog posts about Unitarian Universalists who've actually been convicted of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, to use Maitre Coulombe's very own words. To me, this is immoral, unethical, borderline criminal, in that it's one step away from making a false report to the police or prosecutors. If the Unitarian Universalist Association went to the police and tried to have me charged with the crime of blasphemous libel on the basis that I'd allegedly made unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that Unitarian Universalist ministers had engaged in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, well, that would be a false accusation, because I've done no such thing. I've only blogged about Unitarian Universalist ministers who were actually convicted of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. So that would be a public mischief if UUA leaders tried to have me charged with blasphemous libel. And here we have Aurelian Geary coming to church, along with some other people. So, anyway, getting back to our little monologue here. You know, I basically had this very nice little chat with John Inder, the president of the church, in which he, again, you know, basically said what he said last Sunday and a couple of Sundays before that, basically trying to put his spin on things, you know, that this has nothing to do with the Unitarian Church of Montreal, that, you know, they have no say in what the Unitarian Universalist Association does, and blah, blah, blah. And not only that, but actually, oh, here we have Westmount, I believe, public security. Oh, that's nice. Well, this could be interesting. This could be very interesting. So let's see what happens here. Oh, I see. They're letting someone off at the church. I thought they wanted to have a chat, which would be out of their jurisdiction. I've had quite a few chats with the Service de Police de la Ville de Montréal, SPVM. Had some wonderful philosophical discussions with them. So when I saw this Westmount public security vehicle pulling up, I thought, oh gee, is it possible that Unitarian Universalists in Montreal decided to call Westmount security to try and deal with my protest, since the SPVM, I think, has finally realized that, you know, everything I'm doing is well within the law, as I've always thought it was, in spite of unfortunate police intimidation and harassment that I've had over the years. But it seems that finally, partly as a result of these videos, you know, which show exactly what I'm doing, I think, you know, based on the fact that there's been very little intervention from the SPVM in the last year, and what little intervention there was basically upheld my rights, I think they finally realized that, you know, actually, no, Robin Edgar's not doing anything illegal in terms of his protest, and then there's really no reason for us to intervene. So I thought perhaps desperate Unitarians contacted Westmount. So Francophone couple commenting on my picket signs, pointing to the church, talking about it. I really don't know what they're saying, but they saw the signs. Now, perhaps I should mention what the signs say. I mean, I keep getting sidetracked by different things, but yeah, the sign says Unitarian Universalists misuse Canada's blasphemy law to cover up and deny pedophilia and rape. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a totally truthful statement. You know, a picket sign can obviously not go into all the details. Well, you can. I mean, you can put a paragraph on a picket sign if you want. But not many people are going to read a whole paragraph, you know. And the more you put on the picket sign, the smaller the letters are, you know, the less chance anyone's going to read it at all from any distance. You know, my picket signs are made to be read from, you know, a good distance away. I want people like that car to be able to read what's on the picket signs by the time they get here. Which means I have to have the letters large and legible, and the slogans comparatively short, like these ones. You censor and suppress critics. Unitarian hypocrisy and hubris, suck you asterisk you. And Unitarian perversion of justice, sucks you asterisk you. I should add that, yeah, that rude sucks word there is there specifically because some brilliant Unitarian Universalists thought it'd be a really good idea to start a blog called the Robin Edgar Sucks blog. Prior to the existence of the Robin Edgar Sucks blog, and also prior to the existence of a certain Unitarian Universalist minister describing a certain group of people as really mean people who do suck, I never use the word suck. I generally try to stick to the facts like this. But since Unitarian Universalists, including Unitarian Universalist clergy, and including top-level UUA leaders, such as UUA President Peter Morales, believe that it's perfectly acceptable for Unitarian Universalist ministers to say people suck. I think it's well within my rights to say that certain types of behavior suck. You know, it doesn't say Unitarians suck ass. Oh yes, did I forget to mention that the U asterisk U, you know, it's basically Kurt Vonnegut Jr.'s picture of an asshole between two U's. And that symbol or acronym for Unitarian Universalism is actually an official acronym that was dreamt up by Mary Bennett. So here we have, you know, U asterisk U. And it is really quite funny how back in 2003, you know, a dozen years ago now, CUC Executive Vice President Mary Bennett decided in her unilateral wisdom that she was going to insert an asterisk between the two U's of Unitarian Universalism in order to symbolize the inclusiveness of the Unitarian Universalist religious community. I should perhaps say the self-vaunted or self-proclaimed inclusiveness of the UU movement, or the U asterisk U movement, because, you know, for all their claims to be inclusive, Unitarian Universalists can actually be quite intolerant of certain people. That includes God-believing people. You know, it's called the Unitarian Church of Montreal, but most of the people inside are atheists or agnostics, and amongst the atheists especially, there are some intolerant atheists who basically think you're an idiot if you believe in God. So anyway, getting back to this, the whole use of the word suck and the U asterisk U symbol. Again, that U asterisk U is an actual, it's not my creation. I didn't come up with it. You know, this is